Welcome back to the Gemini channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Gemini. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play those karmic themes, help you understand why your person's doing what they're doing, why you're attracting that person into your life, and how you can shape shift the reality. If there's many different realities that play it at one time, why would you want to be stuck in a reality that keeps you frustrated, angry, ruminating? Really, I mean, when we're connected to a karmic, where they say one thing and do another thing, it can keep us ruminating. But if we understand why things are happening the way that they are, we can kind of take the focus off of us and put the focus back on that person, meaning whatever they're doing has nothing to do with us. It may be making us feel a certain way, but that feeling was there way before this person came into our lives. Is that that person has come into your life to help you become aware of what needs to be healed. Really, that's why I like to do these type of readings, because the majority of times we're connected to a past life karmic mate. We're not even connected to a twin flame, but the person feels like a twin flame because there's a lot of chemistry. So we really have to be careful. All right, let's see what is going on. Now, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you can find in the description box below. Don't forget to check out the $7.99 a month shadow healing coaching program that I do in a group and is done with Oracle cards. Right now, I'm combining my Virgo and my Scorpio channel. And if people from the Gemini channel decide to enroll, well, they'll be going into the Zoom with them until the group gets really big, and then we'll be most likely moving on to like a platform like school. All right, let's see what's happening. We'll do that by first seeing what the underlying energy is. They always want to know what that is because that tells us why a person does what they're doing. It's the underlying energy, which when a person wears masks and creates facades and illusions because they have spiritual blockages, we want to know this. Okay, look, self-denying came out, but this also came out, which is release, attentive, repressed nature. So what's the underlying energy is that you're in separation from someone that is denying themselves from coming to you, that they're connected, I feel like, to somebody else that they don't want to be with. And I say that because it's like they need to release the attentive, repressed nature. It's like they're holding on to a cognitive dissonance. I want to let go of this person, but I also don't want to let go of this person. I want to be with you, but I also don't want to be with you. So they're like in this energy of not knowing what to do, having a lot of indecision. And they have indecision because I feel like with you, there's passion. With you, that there's a spiritual connection, but they haven't invested enough in this connection yet, so they don't know. And with the other person, it's familiarity. Even though there's no passion, it's like the house runs, there's familiarity, there's history. So this is the underlying energy. I feel like nothing is happening. This person is like kind of like it's like taking a long time to figure out what they want to do is what I feel. And then it's like you just got to a point where, hey, because they denying themselves, you got angry because you're like, well, I see it as disrespect. And I feel like you've always seen how they've treated you a little bit disrespectfully because of their situation. They tended to use love as an escape from their reality because, again, they're connected to someone that they're not attracted to, that they're not passionate for, is what I'm feeling. But it's like they don't know what to do because they're connected to someone that's very jealous, that watches everything that they do. And I feel like that person threatens them all the time as well. And so they don't care. That person that they're with does not care that they're in their dark side most of the time, meaning they cheat, they do drugs, they do whatever they need to do to check out from that connection. But that karmic does not care. And we're going to call them a karmic because they're in their dark side and they tend to enjoy enjoy to be in this side because it's like it's almost like they get a lot of attention from other people when they're in this energy. So their dark side keeps them from really enjoying the love that they should be cultivating with you. And that's because, hey, as long as I'm connected to this person, I really can't give you what you want. You'll never really be happy. So the thing is that this person for a long time pretended that this relationship never really ended, but I feel like the relationship that they're in now is ended, and they're pretending that it's also not ended. So it's almost like this person still thinks that they can like control everybody here. They still think that they're gonna be able to like navigate this connection. But I feel like you let go because you got tired. You're like, what do you think I'm gonna wait forever for you? You told me that you were leaving that situation when really they didn't know what they wanted to do. They told you one thing, and that's the thing, and that's what the struggle is. And what you know is you're not giving me anything because as long as you are there, you're giving to that person. And so this person also stops themselves from coming because they've gotten burned from that person. So it's just easier for them to, be around with a lot of different people. When they, had a connection to you, they weren't planning it, is what I feel like. I feel like they were in a dead connection. They were fooling around with a lot of different people that karmic didn't care. You came along, they treated you like a conquest. They were blind to what it really was because again, they were in their lower energy. And so you disconnected. You disconnected because you're like, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that has sex with a lot of other people and runs around and deliberately takes risks. And then you're going to create the illusion like you're like single or getting a divorce or getting separated or that you don't care about that person when really like it's none of that because you're there. You actually have a more balanced connection with that person than you do me, is what you feel like. It's like, and this person might have grown up in this type of dynamic where the parents stayed together even though that there was no love, and you know, person just lived kind of like a double life. You're mad because this person didn't really care whether you were sad or not about it. There's an essence that they thought that, or you thought that they were gonna, kind of make you fearful and like to the reaction and just kind of stay in that type of relationship that eventually you would just kind of look the other way that that person was in their life because they're like, well, I don't love that person. But you're like, no. So this person knows on a deeper level that if they were honest and transparent with you, that they would reject you because, you know, no one's going to be in a relationship like that because it's like it said, it's more like a karmic contract than it is anything else. And that's really what I feel like what took them a long time too. They were like, well, let me hold off and see whether or not someone's going to cave. And I don't think anyone caved like to say, okay, well, I'm going to be in a relationship with you and you're going to be able to be with whoever you want and do whatever you want because you're too lazy to get out of the situation. No, that you use your voice, the other karmic person use their voice, and this person just projects everything back onto everybody else, but they're really down deep inside stressed out because what they know is that everyone's calling judgment on them, and that karmic says, oh, you're going to play games with me, then I'm going to give you like a lot of like burdens, like you're going to have to pay me a lot of money, you're going to have to do a lot. Like I feel like that karmic every time this person would want to leave turns up the heat, and like they just do things to like make it difficult. And so they're doing it again because hey, this person is not really giving to that karmic even though that they're there. That karmic knows that there's someone else in the picture because they're like, they're not treating me the same way. They're still holding back. I'm still not getting anything. And so, it's like this person starting to get paranoid because you're holding them accountable. They're feeling intimidated by that, and the karmic is making them feel inadequate. So this person actually put themselves back into trauma because you're like got impatient and you're like, I'm not dealing with that. And the karmic is like it's shattering their self-image because they're demasculating them or like just they're if they're a man and if they're a girl, it's again they're degrading them, they're making them feel bad. They're making them like force them into like conforming to what they want because they have control over the money and they threaten them. So this person hides behind the illusion, that everything's okay when really they're disempowered by that karmic because the karmic, like I said, says, well, as long as they stay in their old habits, they're not going to move forward. But the problem is that they still have a past life karmic mate with you, but because I mean past life connection with you because you're a past life karmic mate. But the problem is that now you don't trust them and you see this as like betrayal, and this person is kind of feeling like they're being pressured to make a decision. So they're starting to get a lot of anxiety where, you know, you're like, I feel like you're already saying, like, I made the decision. Like, this person's starting to realize, like, well, like, maybe I can fix it, but if I'm going to have to fix it, I'd have to fix it now. So, there's still a sense that they still don't know what to do. They're just feeling very pressured. And I feel like, if anything, I feel like they're still think maybe I can still get away with like having both. And that's because that person, whoever is with them, is giving them a hard time, is doing everything to keep them there, but really it's up to this person to set boundaries. If they really wanted to be with you, they would be with you. There's a sense of, yeah, I'm hot for you, but I was hot for this person at once too, and it didn't work out. So again, if they never feed this connection, they'll never know. So it's easy for them to like betray you, but really they don't love that karmic, but they get stuff from the karmic. The karmic is the fixer. The karmic does everything in the relationship. And so they're like, I don't really want to leave the comfort of, that, but it's not to be with the karmic. Karmic doesn't care. So what it is like there's a big power struggle going on. And for a long time, there's a power struggle going on. I just feel like you gave up. It ended. This person pretends like it hasn't ended. And they're even pretending that it hasn't ended with that karmic, but the karmic is not nice to them anymore. The karmic is pissed because at this point, it's like, how long are you going to play this game where you don't give anybody anything and you hold back and you're waiting for one of us to do something? And that's what the karmic knows. Karmic saying, well, either that person's going to come forward or I'm going to come forward. I'm going to do something. Either I'm going to break up with you or end this connection, or that person, whoever you're waiting for, is going to come forward. Something's going to happen. And that's how this person is kind of playing it, which is like, maybe I still don't have to do anything. So they're real shit. And so at this point, what you say is, well, you know what, I'm really uncertain at this point that we even have enough love here to rebuild anything because we don't have enough history to begin with, because you didn't give anything to restore. So what are we restoring? And the karmic is pretty much saying, man, you know what, you have so much past trauma and scars that you just want to be free, and the desire for freedom. And I'm tired of getting caught up in the whirlwind when, you want to meet somebody else and bring them in or get stuck in your addictions. Like, this karmic's tired of fixing this person, of keeping it all together and not getting anything in return. And this person doesn't really want to give anything. They just don't want to miss their chance with you. So again, they come to you, it would be like in more like in entanglement again, where there would be all of a sudden the boundaries are like real foggy, and that's what this person does. So it's like you can't trust them. You have to like look beyond the romance because this person wants to come in like a whirlwind, get you all caught up in the romance and desire, but they have a secret and that secret desire, and you're their secret desire. But the truth is, they have somebody already. So it would just be nothing but turbulent because this person, like, still is going to try and you're not going to lay it to rest. It's not going to go that way because you're like, your idea of what love is and my idea of love is are two different things. And you're not going to sit there with a clouded judgment because they don't want to build strong roots. You see it as too many issues at this time and you got tired because it was consuming you, that this person just played so many games and they just thought for so long that, oh, well, I can come back at any time and you're going to fall head over heels for me. And really, that's not, you're looking beyond the superficial looks and you're saying, like, you know what? I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing everything for what it is. It's again, you have love blocks. I am tired of having to read between the lines to the point that, the feelings now are coming and going. I used to have very strong feelings for you, but you haven't fed the connection. You haven't given, you haven't been there, and you're still kind of expecting that this person, like, waited so long and no one did anything. See, they expected the karmic to do something or you to do something, and then they were just gonna, wherever the chips were gonna, land, they were just gonna go with and then see if they liked it. And if it didn't work, then they'd back out and just go the other way. This person doesn't make decisions. So, like you said, they're all about themselves, but you got wise. The karmic got wise. And so that's why this person's starting to have anxiety because everybody's looking at them like you're a liar. Like you play a lot of games, and they do play a lot of games. They thought that they were going to be able to to continue to do this. They know that they can't fix things at this point between you, but they dream of you because they still have the passion. They run away because they feel that they couldn't live up to your needs and your expectations because they weren't willing to get rid of that person. So they thought that they were going to, again, scare you and what by not doing anything and thinking, well, if I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to somebody else, so maybe you're going to come to me. And so, no, what happened is that you held them to the standard and they know that they can't fix it because, hey, at this point, so much time went by. And then they know that they can't fix it with the other person either. And they're faced with the constant reminders of you. And so that's the whole thing. It's like because you were a divine counterpart, but they gave you the silent treatment and they tried to affect your mental health. And so even though that there was a telepathic bond between you and this person, their unhealthy habits and their attachments and their behaviorisms, you just couldn't do it. And the thing is, this person cannot turn back the clock to do things over again, and that's what they see. So, they put too many obstacles in between you and them, and that's why they know that they can't fix it. So, at this point, what could have really been a good connection, they have too many like wounds too many wounds to like actually be able to fix this connection is what I see. Do they think highly of you? Yes, you inspire them. There's still feelings there. They know that this could have been a good connection. The chemistry was good. It's like, but they know that they have unwittingly sabotaged the connection. And so that's the issue. It's like they thought that they were going to be able to like manipulate this so that they could have their cake and eat it too. And what happened is they lost everything. And now they're like, I can't fix it with you because I didn't put in enough time or energy and you're not having it. And that's what they know. So you have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? You're a mirror of what comes into your life. This is good in actuality that the cycle has closed because what they realize is, well, I can't really come back from that. They thought that they were going to roll the dice and that, they were going to win. Someone was going to cave. They were sure of it. Yeah, who's caving is them. They wound up with nothing. And so again, we look to see why did you connect to this person? You're a mirror of who and what comes into your life, right? So we look in the first card out is abandonment. The second card out is suppression. The fourth card out is misunderstood. Fifth card out is cleansing. Sixth card, my fingers, I'm like, they keep getting stuck. Sixth card out is gifts. Woo! Okay, that's a good one. And let's see, an isolation. And let's mix them up for one last pull, which will be loner. All right. So we look to see now, even though this person, like, played all these games and everything, you know, I have to say, I see gifts here and I see cleansing. Those are two good cards. Loner isn't a bad card either, but I feel like the abandonment and the suppression, you were raised by a parent that, you know, always misunderstood you. So you could be somebody that was a creative person, someone that was more intuitive, someone that, was a free thinker, and your parents were more conservative, and they just looked at you as being rebellious, or looked at you as not being serious in life, or just kind of like didn't have your head on straight. But you were misunderstood because every single time you tried to like express yourself, again, you were suppressed. And abandonment was if you didn't act the way your parents wanted you to act, if you didn't mold to the environment, well, there was abandonment. And the abandonment is more of psychological and emotional. So, um, so you had to kind of continuously conform to the environment. So that type of trauma made you disconnect, where you actually have a lot of spiritual gifts. You became very intuitive. Because again, if you feel like you can't truly be yourself, you don't feel safe to discern, I mean, you just don't feel safe to like express yourself, you're going to discern what to say, what not to say. You pay attention to the subtleties in the environment because, again, the environment was strict, it was suppressive. So, you were still able to get your gifts because, again, the child that survives thrives, and you had the power to cleanse yourself, which tells me that you have a lot of empathic. So I have a tickle in my throat. A lot of spiritual empathetic empathy. You're an empath, energies, because you're able to cleanse yourself of that. And empaths tend to be loners too. So, and I know that you were a loner because, like I said, if a parent was suppressing you and there was abandonment, and anytime you had to heal, you did it by yourself and you did it in isolation, not feeling safe to be vulnerable, to be transparent, because again, abandonment and being seen as misunderstood. So, somebody that's a highly sensitive person, that's an empath, that's creative, that's being seen as misunderstood, as rebellious, someone that's just different, needs to go against the grain, again, that's always being seen as misunderstood, a little bit of an embarrassment to very conservative parents that didn't want to have such an emotional child, that wanted to have more of an analytical child. Again, that abandonment. But you being an empath, you have gifts. Being able to cleanse yourself is heal yourself, as well as the spiritual gifts. So that kicked up a lot of the abandonment that you had in childhood, this person, because hey, they weren't there for you the whole time, you know, and they didn't really allow you to have your own identity. They never took the time to actually get to know you, to learn about your identity. So they just assumed that they were going to be able to treat you however that they want, that they would be able to dip out, if that relationship didn't work or they got bored of that karmic and be with you for a little while and then just, if they didn't like it, dip back out and go back because that's who this person is. It's like why they know that you know, and that's why they say, well, I ruined this connection. Now they're stuck with the karmic who they don't really have a connection to. See, they can stay in that connection with the karmic as long as they're having sex with other people, there's other passion, but you were a real person, which this person didn't really see that until now. Like, again, that they really lost somebody good. But the relationship was to just help you integrate all facets of yourself, meaning that you had fragmentation from the way that you were brought up. And, them coming into your life and not giving you the time and triggering you in all those other ways was, you know, helped you see what needed to be healed. And that spirit says all experience is good and bad, shapes your soul's evolution. So again, learning for you to heal helped you to evolve. And that don't worry about anything with relationships or anything. Everything happens in divine time, that God has a plan for you. So, don't try to make something happen that shouldn't happen. Like I said, that like this person was never supposed to be in your life. They were supposed to come into your life to help create awareness. And in the right time, in divine time, when your soul has evolved to a point that you're healed, well, then spirits are going to bring someone into your life, and it's not going to be this person you know. And Spirit says, understand again, nurture the light within you to guide you through the dark times. Like this helps to keep hope alive. You focus on what you can focus on because guess what? Envision a future filled with potential and opportunities. See your own genius. That's why you had to go through this experience. You had to go through this experience so that you could integrate those wounds so that you could actually move on to brighter horizons, is what Spirit's saying. And that, that is going to allow you to see like who you truly are, your greatness. You weren't allowed, you were suppressed, so you were never allowed to really, you know, um, to really shine your light the way that you needed to, like become yourself, the way that you were supposed to. Because when we're children and we grow up and we become like teenagers, well, that's when we're finding our identity, what we like, what we don't like. And we can express ourselves by the music that we listen to, the clothes that we wear, the way that we wear our hair. It's again the styles that that call to us, again what we choose to embody. And so you weren't allowed to do that. So Spirit says now's the time to do that, because what you attracted was the trauma of, if you're going to be you, well, you're going to be abandoned. Because guess what, on some level this karmic, like this person stays with the karmic because, hey, life is easy. Life may not be easy with you because your job isn't a regular job. It's a creative job. I don't really know how that is. There's a lot of uncertainty. But this person was judging you the same way that you grew up with that judgment. But Spirit says you are always able to cleanse and heal yourself. So by utilizing the things that you love, by doing what you love, and be surrounding yourself with other people that you love, so friendships of all kinds, well, that's what's going to help you get to the brighter horizons, is what Spirit said. This was just, again, an experience to help you see what needed to be healed, needed to be integrated. And we leave off with one more card, which is me. Couldn't be a perfect more ending, that Spirit says. It's like says this time is all about you. It had nothing to do with this person. It was just about your healing. So allow serenity to reign in you. The love that you have for yourself invites harmony to settle within your being. Listen to, honor, and strive to fulfill the needs of your own soul right now. It's all about you because you weren't allowed to find yourself, create yourself, be yourself when you were growing up. And that trauma still was there. And so if you have to always mold to the environment, you're never going to be happy. This person wanted you to mold to what would have been more convenient for them because they're, I'm not going to call them what I want to call them, but because they don't have, you know, the backbone to like do what they need to do for themselves. They're like, well, I'm lazy. It's comfortable for me. They're not looking at anybody except for themselves. And that's why Spirit says you need to leave this behind. I'm going to leave that there, Gemini. You let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.